What the Browns need to do to get this talented roster and this season on track. The Cavs' plans for their broadcast teams this season as they mourn the passing of Fred McLeod. What RTA says was behind huge delays boarding the Rapid from the Browns game last night. And the local choir that's about so much more than singing.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being with us. It's our very first edition of Front Row. It's more of what you love, less of what you don't. And along the way, we'll put you in the front row to all the things that matter to you and bring a smile to your face. We have a new look, but it's the team you know. And so here's how we begin. With your front row seat to the day's top stories, here's Sarah Shookman with tonight's 77 Seconds at 7.
Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown met with local striking auto union workers today in Parma. The General Motors UAW strike is now in its 8th day. Big issues being negotiated include wages, profit sharing, new products in factories that GM wants to close, and the use of temporary workers. President Trump skipped the big climate change session at the United Nations today in New York City, instead opting to talk about religious liberty, a big issue among his voting base. He's announcing a pledge of U.S. funds for protecting religious sites and relics around the world. A change of guard in the Cavs broadcast booth following the passing of beloved TV announcer Fred McLeod. Radio play-by-play announcer John Michael will transition to be the new TV announcer, and in his place on the radio, longtime WEOL radio personality Tim Alcorn will take up the mantle. Horror flick fans are mourning the death of Sid Haig tonight. The actor, whose career dates back to the 60s, is perhaps known best for movies like House of 1,000 Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. Sid Haig was 80 years old. And it is the first day of fall. Northeast Ohio will reach peak autumn colors in mid-October. And like much of the Midwest, expect a vibrant, long-lasting display.
Well, that's a nice way to end the 77 Seconds
It
at
is.
7. Thanks for that.
It doesn't really seem like this first day of fall.
No,
but,
it doesn't.
But
Boy,
it is.
You know, in the stadium last night, it was stuffy and muggy. It really was.
And
I'm saying,
we
this
never
is
would have
amazing.
expected that on September 22nd, looking at that date.
Hey, I want to talk about something with you here, and it is a very, very tough situation, and I wish the Cavs announcers the very best, because it's a very, very awkward situation and a sad situation for John Michael, who's done a great job on the radio. Now he goes over to TV and he replaces the late Fred McLeod. And I know he's excited about the opportunity, but the consequences and the circumstances surrounding that are tough.
Certainly.
And good luck to Tim Alcorn. He's done a lot of hard work, and now he gets an opportunity to go to the NBA. I remember when the great Nev Chandler passed away all too young. Very popular voice of the Browns, and Casey Coleman had to go in and take that spot. And it's really a tough job anyway, but it's tough to do it under those circumstances.
I can imagine. This is obviously, we are all still mourning Fred, and it's so sudden for everybody.
Right.
So, I mean, I think this is a situation of the team nobody ever saw themselves in. So, you know, just wishing the best of luck to John and Tim as they move into those new roles, and to Austin Carr as he gets a new partner in all of this.
And Jim Chones over on the radio side.
Yeah.
Sarah, we'll see you in a couple of minutes, all right?
Thank
you.
Shotgun for Goff. He's got Gurley on his left hip. Third down and goal. He's got the snap. He's back to pass. He throws to the middle, wide open. Cooper Kupp, touchdown Rams. I mean, wide open. This is it. Fourth down. Baker back. Baker flushed. Baker really flushed. Baker throws, and they go to the end zone, and it's incomplete. And the Browns are going to lose.
And in fact, it was intercepted too. How about that? To add to the misery, but it was all academic at that point. 20-13 the final score. Mary Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com, the outstanding and somewhat controversial Browns beat writer. We're in the front row now, okay? We got to bring it a little bit more.
I just asked her what Mary Kay bomb she was dropping
Yes,
tonight.
all right. Bud Shaw, who I drove back to the station last night in the wee hours of the morning.
Eternally
It was
grateful.
better than obviously going on RTA last night after the game. All right, I'm going to get right to it. Play calling, is it too much for Freddie Kitchens to be calling the offensive plays and to be the head coach of the team. You raised some questions about that with him today.
Well, you know, I actually think that it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to shake it up a little bit. Let Todd Monken get a little involved in calling plays. He's an experienced play caller. Most people think it's a little too early for that, but I'm not one that thinks, you know, you just would never be able to go back to Freddie if it didn't work out. Why not try something? Try to inject a little energy, enthusiasm into this
Well,
thing.
here's the question I would have. If you're going to allow him to call plays, are you sure that Freddie buys into his philosophy on offense? Because
Yeah.
I can't tell right now what they're trying to do offensively.
As a matter of fact, if I said to the two of you, very, very skilled writers, okay? People that put I before E except after C. If I said to both of you, give me 100 words on what the definition of the Browns offense is right now, I would challenge you to do that, because I have to tell you, I don't know what they're trying to do offensively.
Well, you know, I remember Ryan Lindley, the quarterback's coach, saying in May that they were going to have to establish their identity. And they haven't done that yet. And May was kind of late to be getting there as well.
One of the things Freddie Kitchens said was that he was going to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers. Yet, we saw down at the goal line last night the two best offensive players on the field, Odell Beckham Jr. and Nick Chubb, never touched the ball.
Yeah, the best player on the team to me is Nick Chubb. Okay, he's the best player on the team. All right, they're first and goal at the 4.5-yard line. Now, they ran him on 4th and 9 on the most ill-called play that I have seen in a long, long time. Historically bad to call a draw play on 4th down and 9.
Right.
But Chubb does not get a run. They had 3 timeouts left.
Right. They had 3 timeouts left. They didn't use their timeouts effectively.
But how
They did
doesn't
not-
someone dissent that? There's 9 of them over there with headsets on. Are
Exactly.
they listening to Magic 105?
You know, I don't know how that happens, but Freddie over and over and over again today talked about how, you know, this is new to him. He's on a learning curve and all those kinds of things. And I just kept on thinking, they don't have time for a learning curve right now.
Yeah,
They're 1 and 2.
no.
This is a team built to go to the playoffs. They don't have time to mess around. Well,
Doesn't it all come back to this? When you looked at the schedule and you said to yourself, the first 3, Tennessee, the Jets, and then a Sunday night game against a really good Rams team, all right? The fact that they lost that opening game has put them in a quandary right now, because I think, you know, 50-50 if you're going to beat the Rams.
Yeah, for sure. And the only good thing about it is if you sit down again and revisit the second half of the schedule, it looks even softer now with
Right.
Roethlisberger's injury, with Denver being as bad as they are, with Miami being the worst
Yes.
team in football. They have to keep this afloat, though, and they have the record isn't what is worrying people or what people find alarming. It's the fact, in my mind, that Baker Mayfield doesn't look like the same quarterback.
That's right. Okay,
Yes.
What's with that? He's obviously really the target of a lot of criticism. I mean, Rex Ryan today said that he's really overrated. He's a one-read quarterback. He's the slowest guy on the field when he starts running around.
Well,
Yikes.
I think that defenses, they're playing better defenses. Defensive coordinators have a book on him this year, so they're shutting down things that he does well. They're doubling Odell Beckham Jr., taking away his best option. He doesn't have Rashard Higgins. He doesn't have David Njoku.
Yeah, I agree.
So there are a lot of factors.
And they never answered the fact that Duke Johnson was traded away. They don't have a secondary running back.
Right.
I was going to say, I know you like when I exaggerate.
I do.
If
And
anybody-
it's been a little
if
tardy in
anybody-
this segment.
If anybody should know about being overrated, it's the Ryan brothers. That's what I'm going to say. So
We're
take
going to
that
the
with
Super Bowl.
Take that with a
We're
grain
going
of
to the
salt.
Super Bowl. Those Jets teams were going. Okay. Let me ask you this. You can keep bringing this fan base, as passionate as they are. You can keep walking them up the aisle to the altar. And you can tell them to get to the stadium early. Be as loud as you can. And they do it for you, and you don't deliver.
Yeah, you know what? That's the saddest part about this whole thing.
I really feel badly for them.
These first 2 games, I mean, just the stadium has been electric.
Oh.
And you walk out of there not only with a loss, but 13 points scored in those 2 first home games. This is a town that was so fired up and feeling so good about the Cleveland Browns, and right now all of that seems in jeopardy.
By the way, I feel like I am walking them up the aisle, because I walk from Channel 3 to the game.
You do.
The first 2 home games, they were all locking arms, they were chanting, everybody was excited, and then you see what happens.
Yeah.
You tell them if you're not wearing brown and orange, you're not with us, and they do, okay? And then you don't deliver. Major game Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
Tough place to win.
Yes, it really is. And not only that, 4 out of their next 5 are on the road. Can you imagine that? And the one team that's coming to town are the Seahawks. So Baltimore, Sunday, Huge game. They're playing great.
Should I point out again how soft the schedule is in the second half of the season? Because it feels like I need to.
All right, thanks to you both. Mary Kay Cabot, Bud Shaw, the Browns getting set. They head on, and they get ready to go to Baltimore coming up this Sunday. We'll be back with more of Donovan Live after this.
Front Row is brought to you by Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
Our quality of our products is definitely second to none. They are custom made to the exact specifications of every opening that window is going in.
We have the highest quality windows on the market that can meet the stresses of any environment.
Our windows have a 50-point factory inspection and a 20-point installation review.
We installed over 150,000 windows last year with 99.5% requiring zero follow-up service. That's getting it right the first time.
Quality windows you can own. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Plus 0% interest for 18 months. Go to windownation.com.
Here we go, tonight's 3 on 3 lineup. A late night wait, an unlikely musical, and a big roll of the dice. He waved to you. He is Mike Polk joining us on 3
Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Sarah Schickman is back. First up, after the late Browns game last night / this morning, some fans took to the internet to express outrage over the wait times to get on the RTA rapid trains so that they could get home. Some even saying they were still waiting to board a train after 2:30 this morning. RTA says they had a technical issue on that stretch of the track, I guess so, which stopped the train from running. If the first and goal at the 4.5 wasn't bad enough, and they didn't move an inch, now you can't get home.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That is a long day. And
Yeah.
I love the RTA. I ride the RTA. I really do. But you put a bunch of people in that hot sun all day, put a bunch of booze in them, shake them up, get them mad, take a winnable game away, and then stuff them on an RTA with a million other people like with their armpit in your face.
Yeah.
I can understand why people
Or
are
no
upset.
train at all. Yeah.
Right.
And you don't open that Muni lot till 2.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Heaven
gotta-
forbid that pre-game stuff started any earlier yesterday.
We
you know.
heard they got out, though, so they got out of that RTA train. They are not still on the tracks. Congratulations,
Yeah.
folks.
Good to have you with us here on the front row. Remember the movie The Devil Wears Prada? Well, someone thought it needed to be made into a musical, and they got Elton John to write the music. And so it premieres next summer in Chicago with eyes on Broadway after that.
I am
Is it
loving
okay
this.
for me to say I really enjoyed that movie?
It's a fabulous movie.
We're cool. Yeah, of course.
We're guys,
you are.
we're cool.
Yeah, you're allowed. It's the 90s. You
I
can say
knew you
whatever
would
you
like
want.
it. I
It's a
think you
great
could have been in that
movie.
movie.
You
With-
do?
Yeah, with your style.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so nice of
Yeah.
you to
Unpopular
say.
thought on it, probably, I'm sure, especially according to my sisters who love that movie. I think that I like that movie too, but it's not because it's a good movie. It's pretty much a Lifetime made-for-TV movie, like generic plot like that.
right.
It's because of Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci. Those
Yes.
guys make
Yeah,
it, and it's going to be
Amen.
weird
Yeah.
to see how if they can transition that kind of
That's
star
my
power to that.
first question: Who plays the Meryl
huge.
Streep,
That's everything.
Anna Wintour
Streep.
character? On
That'd
Broadway?
be great. Why not?
Why not?
I mean,
I'll just
they
get her.
do that.
Give her
That'd
a
be great.
call.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
but
you.
it's so dependent on casting.
I'm glad
Yes.
you said that.
Yep.
Stanley
And
Tucci
Tucci,
was
he's amazing.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
He was. Do you have?
I feel so good that I was able to vocalize that I really
Sure,
enjoyed
we're proud
the
of you for
movie.
taking the step.
I mean, I'm
The
tired of
honesty.
saying Rudy.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, Major
Devil
League
Wears Prada.
Caddyshack.
It's his new
Say it.
favorite.
You know, let your freak flag
All
fly.
right, we go too far. One of the biggest dice rolls ever. It's a truck carrying thousands of dice for an Atlanta-based gaming company. Lost its load all over I-75. Crews had to shovel up about 216,000 dice, worth about $10,000. And the last die, and is that correct, the last die?
I think so, yes.
They picked up,
Singular.
landed on 6.
Ooh.
Okay, your lucky number is 6.
Just looking at those pictures and the video,
Yeah.
first off, I had no idea die were worth so much.
Right. Yeah,
Dice, whatever.
I guess they're more valuable than I thought as well. It depends what you roll. I actually looked, when I saw that, though, I was like, that is the truck that I would be stuck behind that would unload. It would never be a truck full of cash. It wouldn't be full of Irish whiskey.
No.
It would just be
Dice.
a million dice. So like, oh, thanks a lot. I can't wait to pick these up.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
You don't-
Where's the Bushmills truck?
That'd be nice. And honestly, I think the only good news is that they weren't those Dungeons and Dragons 12-sided die, because think of how many goblins we would have lost in that. I'm sorry, everyone.
Can you
I
imagine
just don't
seeing
even
that?
know
I mean,
what
there's
to
some
say.
strange things on the highway, but that would be incredible.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
I
a
mean,
weird thing to have to steer around.
All of a sudden, you're like, wait, what is this? I wonder if people in their cars could see enough to know what was on the ground and why it was so valuable to shovel it up.
Most importantly, did the truck driver scream Yahtzee at the end of it? Because you would have to. You got to have fun with it, right?
Well done, Mike Polk and Sarah Shookman, and all you The Devil Wears Prada fans. Thank you for joining us. When we come back, how one choir uses more than their voices to share their message, and Michael Estime's weather coming up after this. The new season of The Voice premieres tonight right here on Channel 3 and NBC, but right here at home, a choir is using more than their voices to raise each other up. It's helping members overcome the challenges that they face every day. Lindsey Buckingham takes us front row for what makes them so special.
Okay. Go. I see what's happening, yeah.
There's a place in Elyria that makes you feel at home.
Turn to the night sky.
It doesn't matter what you look like, or even if you can hear the music. The doors at Sharon Signers are open to everyone.
It's a sign language group for all types of individuals, whether you're on the spectrum, whether you can't move your arms or legs, and even for individuals that are just neurotypical. It's a group for everyone to learn how to do sign language through music and through theatricality.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
A story deep-rooted in Corey Savette's family.
Very much a family tradition.
As a special education teacher, his mother, Sharon, learned sign language to connect with a deaf student.
My mother was actually the original director, the founder.
Soon others wanted in on this new inclusive world.
So we have a few people that we have one who's completely deaf, and we have another individual that is hard of hearing, and one who's nonverbal.
Then in 2016, Corey's world came to a halt with his mother's passing. But rather than stop the music, he chose to carry on.
After her passing, a lot of the parents, as well as the students, came up to me and they said, we don't want this choir to go away. We don't want it to just drop off in the face of the world. We want to move it forward, and we want to move it forward with you.
That's because Corey knows more than anyone what it's like to face challenges. He's on the autism spectrum. His mom knew he was a leader.
They reminded me of something in that moment. This is something that my mother would have wanted.
A lot of our signers would be socially isolated outside of this group. They don't have friends. A lot of them do not have employment.
Some who lost their parents, like 20-year-old twins Matt and Andrew Nord. This group lifting them in ways the outside world just couldn't.
I don't think words can describe it. It's just one of those beautiful experiences.
We can be ourselves, be free, and just have fun.
I was the master of my fate.
So for a lot of them, they're learning something from each other.
When they perform, they're reaching for joy.
How's everybody doing today? Our next piece is Let It Go.
And for the signers, they'll always have a place to call home.
To remember that you are not alone in this world and that you always have a place in it.
Lindsey Buckingham, 3 News.
All right, thanks for that, Lindsey. To catch Sharon Singers at a show, head to WKYC.com/front row, and we have a link to them over on our homepage.
Beautiful
Michael
story.
Estime, wasn't that a great story?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
And speaking about beautiful, 91 degrees yesterday.
Oh.
I know you were warm.
It was steamy over there. Yeah.
And
I mean, there was a
humid.
breeze, Michael, but it was steamy.
Yeah, it's soupy, and you know what? That marked actually the 19th day in 2019 of 90-plus degree heat.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, for 2019. So, and we have a couple more days, unfortunately, in store of it. Not tonight, though. I think we're in for a good-looking night if you want to head out and about. Maybe you're heading to your favorite.
I'm going to head out and about.
Yeah, I was going to say, tonight is the night to do it because by this weekend, Jimmy, absolutely not. Wait until you see the numbers by that point. Current temperatures at America's roller coaster at 70 degrees and elsewhere feeling great. Upper 60s for my friends up toward Ashtabula. We're in the mid 70s down toward Akron, Canton area. And one of the reasons why it's just a little bit cooler lakeside is because of a breeze off the water. You can see it there. Between 15 to 20 miles per hour in Elyria, gusting at times upwards of 20 miles per hour. So a breezy night ahead of us. I think that we'll see just a couple of passing clouds. Notice that we should stay rain-free. The rain that we saw yesterday continuing to press off toward the east, and in its wake, high pressure rolling into northeast Ohio. And on the east end of that high pressure center, notice that north to south flow of air. Temperatures tomorrow, because of that cool Canadian air being dragged down, only in the lower 70s as opposed to the 91 degrees that we had yesterday. Here's what the timeline on your evening looks like. Again, now through midnight. Looks phenomenal. Great open window weather tonight. I think first thing tomorrow morning, you may notice a couple of extra clouds out there. That would be lake effect clouds. And notice perhaps a couple of isolated lake effect showers just over the state line. But if you're joining me up towards the Ashtabula, perhaps an isolated lake effect shower first thing tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we'll dry things out. A lot of sunshine in the forecast tomorrow. A little warmer down south with your Universal Windows Direct full 7-day. Showing you 70s tomorrow, 80s on Wednesday. And Jimmy, close your eyes. We are in the mid 80s and nearing low 90s into early next week. Back with more after this.
Tonight's primetime lineup brought to you by the Nuremberg Paris Injury Lawyers. Injured in an accident? Call 216-777-7700. Nuremberg Paris, fighting for the injured since 1928.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, Michael. Entertainment Tonight comes up next. Russ and Sarah back at 11. That's a pretty shot downtown Cleveland. And enjoy the rest of your night.